Alright, welcome back everybody. So we're continuing with the Callisto Protocol on the PlayStation 5. So this is episode 2. So we're taking a little stroll around the Black Iron Prison, looking for some soap and hopefully not dropping it. So for people that are interested in knowing what I think of the game so far, I'm sure you guys are hearing a lot of people giving some negative feedback. Everybody's feedback is obviously valid, and it's their experience. Hopefully it's their experience and they are actually playing the game and have progressed at least halfway through the game up until they got the suit upgrade. Oh, I must have dropped the soap because this guy just came out of nowhere from behind. And get the hell out of here. So honestly, I'm pretty much right now, I just started chapter 5 or chapter 6, so I just beat the environmental biome, and I met up with the Asian girl, and we opened up the package that we were delivering to a Black Iron prison. So up until this point, like, I do have some issues with the game. Like, I am very much underwhelmed with the variety of the enemies. In the trailers and stuff like that, all the zombies and monsters looked awesome. But after like 2 hours of gameplay and the same type of enemies that I'm encountering, like this dude over here, yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed with the designs, especially their destructibility. Like in the trailers, it made it look like anywhere you were hitting them, it would be destructible meat suits. So if you hit the guy on the shoulder, chunks of his shoulders would fly out. Now, they were able to pretty much successfully do that in Doom Eternal, but not in this game. So these boxes over here, this is pretty much your the puzzle element of the game. There's not the puzzles don't really get any deeper than find the fuse, bring it to the fuse box, and find multiple fuses. But the game is actually very fun. So this is the original team that made Dead Space. Oh, poor Jack Dorsey, he's dead. No! So this is the same team that made Dead Space. So this is what I really like about the DFG. This is a space horror, cosmic horror game. I don't know if I would consider this cosmic horror, but it is a space horror. Because obviously it takes place in space, right? So they did an amazing job at creating tension, like throughout the entire of the game. Like, I've sometimes played 2 hours of the game at a time, and the tension keeps on building, and they maintain that tension throughout the entire game so far. So on that, I give them a 10 out of 10 for the environment and the feel. It does feel very claustrophobic at times as well. But this is where the Silent Hill Downpour comparison comes into play, is when you get into the fights. So just like in Silent Hill, whenever you would encounter an enemy, they would always announce themselves where they are. You would see them, then they would, you know, do the proverbial beating of the chest, and then rush you. And that's exactly what they do in this game. So whatever tension was built up by the environment and the creepy factor of your surroundings and not knowing what's going on and what's going to pop out of where,
Jacob,
once the enemy
it's getting worse out here.
appears,
Where are you?
Made it through the infirmary.
you have more than enough
Still
time
looking for
to
that weapons locker.
mentally
Okay,
prepare
I'm
yourself
getting
for
close.
the,
Just keep
the coming
moving.
battle. So doing that completely takes away from the build-up of the tension that the game has successfully built up until that point. So that's the biggest downside of the game. But the fact that they're maintaining the tension throughout the game kind of supersedes it. So I very much recommend giving the game a try. If you've got the hard cash for the game to get it now, I say it's worth a purchase. But as we know, in a month, maybe even 2 months, the game will definitely go on sale for a drastically lower price. So if you can hold off, hold off. But if you've got the funds, pick it up. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, 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 pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, up, up. See, this is what I mean. See, the enemies are right there, and they always announce themselves. So whatever tension was built, it just becomes a fighting game at this point, the combat. So I appreciate that they didn't give us destructible weapons like they did in Silent Hill Downpour. Oh, and by the way, up until the point where you get your suit upgrade, your inventory is very, very much limited. But once you get your suit upgrade halfway through the game, trust me, you're stocked. You're stocked. So I believe the actor that plays the protagonist of the game is the actor that played the Star Killer
you find anything?
in The Force Unleashed. Awesome games. I'm surprised they haven't remade those ones.
Stun baton, yeah. And those things do pack a punch, though, and we are going to need it.
And I very much recommend upgrading your weapon as soon as you can.
Listen, you're almost to the watchtower.
It is your
To
main
sneak through, but it's
go-to
empty now, so
weapon
you should be good.
until the
I'll
end
meet
of
you
the
on the
game.
other side.
Yeah, see you there.
And then your next best weapon to upgrade. Because I'm proficient in fighting games and games like Dark Souls, so I'm good with melee. So I don't really use my guns as often as I use the baton. And also use your environment to your advantage. You have force pull and push, so you can pick up enemies and throw them against the wall where you see the spikes and impale them, killing them a lot faster, conserving your ammo. Not that you really need to conserve your ammo. Like one thing I do notice about the game is that it's always aware of what you're lacking. So let's say if you have no more ammo or you're running very, very low on your ammo, it's going to give you an enemy that's going to drop you some ammo, so you've got some stuff to use. Alright, so let's talk about some some stuff outside of the game. because I want to try and not just do gameplay videos, but also want to try and do some chit-chatting during the videos like I did on the first one. So, the Liver King. What do you guys think about the Liver King? So I'm gonna be honest. His personality is very charismatic, and I did like the guy. I wasn't aware that he was claiming to be natty, so I didn't really know everything or a lot about the Liver King. I just knew that he promoted a fit lifestyle and eating what he considered healthy. The primal, the ancestral diet. I always thought that stuff was funny. So being a guy that, alright, so this part of the game, this is pretty much the one of the hardest parts of the game early on, because you're gonna get bombarded by a ton of enemies. I think you're attacked by 5 or 6 of these zombies. So this might take you a couple of tries to do that. I think it took me 2 tries. Yeah, and on the second try, I cleaned house. Yeah. So regarding going back to the Liver King, so being a gym goer and knowing certain things, I knew right off the bat that the Liver King was obviously heavily juicing. And I thought that it was common knowledge. But nope. As we all found out, the Liver King was claiming to be a natty, which he 1025% was not, but he was claiming to be a natty. So you had millions of people following this guy, taking his advice, thinking if they ate the way he ate, worked out the way he worked out, they too would get the ancestral body that he has. So what happened was, he had an interview with somebody, and if I remember correctly, they asked him what his cycle looked like, and he pretty much gave them a grocery list of the things that he was on. So he was on testosterones, peptides, and HGH. So HGH stands for human growth hormone. And look, so I'll give you guys a bit of a backstory, and one of the biggest giveaways of somebody that claims to have taken steroids but has not taken steroids. So proper terminology is extremely important. So when you hear people saying I did steroids once or I did steroids a couple of times, those people 99% of the time have not taken steroids. They are what we call haters or antis, and these people have zero experience in anything that they talk about. So when somebody has taken steroids, has done steroids, they will refer to it as a cycle. So I'm saying this because I did do one cycle a few years ago. I would say maybe 5 years ago, or
You're
even
harder than I thought.
6 years ago.
Just keep going now. I found a safe room
And
up
if you want to
ahead.
know what my cycle was, I'll tell you. So my cycle was a 3-month cycle, and it was three different products. So it was Deca, EQ, so short for Deca is short for Decadurabolin, and EQ is short for Equipoise. Equipoise is primarily used on horses. And of course, testosterone. So, before I continue, a little bit of backstory. So at that point, I was 34 years old. No, sorry, I was 36. Yeah, I think I was 36, or maybe even 37 years old. I had been working out already for about 8 years. So I already had a decent foundation and strength and things like this. I was nothing impressive. I was a 3 out of 10 fitness guy. But the year that I decided to do a cycle, I did actually work out a lot more intensely, and I put on significantly more mass and strength, because I wanted to have a better foundation of when I started the cycle. So I had sought out the person. I knew what I thought I knew I was kind of getting what I knew what I was getting into. So I started my cycle, and the experience was great. A lot of strength, a lot of self-confidence, like your self-esteem and your self-confidence go from let's say a 4 to a 26. So the cycle that I was on was actually a very, very insane cycle, especially for somebody that just did a first cycle. Your first cycle should this is the only advice that I'm going to give you on stuff like this. The only thing that you should be on your first cycle, if you ever make the mistake of doing them, is testosterone. You don't need anything else on your first cycle. And anybody that, even if it's your trainer that puts you on 3 compounds, it will absolutely mess you up. So after I stopped taking them, it was you feel like you feel like a Superman when you're on, but when you come off, even if you're taking your post cycle recovery and things like this, you're devastated for weeks or even sometimes months. So being a male, I would never recommend anybody doing steroids unless they want to compete, going towards a professional level. Nobody else should be on a cycle, especially a cycle like that, of steroids, ever. Testosterone does wonders. You don't need more than that. So there's a lot of young people that do take steroids, and they have They think they know what they're getting into,
turning them into those things.
but they have no
Take that
fucking
elevator down
idea
to the next
how
level, and follow the
uncool
signs to
that
reach
shit
medical.
is
I'll be in
in
touch.
the long term. So some of the most unlucky people get what we call a shutdown, or a complete shutdown. So when people refer to a shutdown, they're talking about their testosterone, because steroids, they're all different levels of testosterone. So when your body produces testosterone and then you're giving it an outside source, it either stops or greatly reduces the amount of testosterone that your body produces naturally. So some very unfortunate people, it did happen to me. I did get a shutdown. So after I stopped my cycle for months, and I think it was actually I even going into a year after I stopped taking them, I was having erectile dysfunctions. Now, luckily for me, that problem for the most part has resolved itself, and I consider myself one of the lucky ones. But many people, many men, guys, do not recover, and they have permanent erectile dysfunctions, and they have to be on stuff to help them, and sometimes even that stuff doesn't help them. I'm talking about the little blue pill like Viagra,
Use your
Cialis, and
shift to
stuff like
dig out
that.
their implant. You don't have a choice. It's the only way through.
Why
that
do you
door.
think these people, these guys who are on steroids, they also always talk about Viagra and
what
stuff
you
like
gotta
that?
do in
Because they
here.
can't function
This
without
place
it.
has a way of changing you.
And especially when you're younger. Sorry that I'm talking about a lot about this, but I guess this is the topic that I chose for today's chat along with the gameplay. So I think I was able to recover because I took a cycle so late in my life. So for over 3 decades, my body has been producing at a good rate testosterone. I didn't have any deficiencies prior to taking my first cycle. So the younger you are, the less time your body has spent producing testosterone. So when you give it a powerful source of testosterone, like we said, your body stops producing it, or it diminishes the production level. The factory shuts down. So if your body's not used to producing it, because it's been producing for a very short time, and you decided at 18 years old, 16, 22 years old to start taking steroids even at a small dose, there's a very, very much higher chance of you having a permanent shutdown. Alright, so yeah, back to the Liver King. So back to the Liver King, brothers. So basically, brothers, the Liver King fucked up. It's hard to talk like that.
Nice.
But he talks like that naturally because steroids will fuck up your throat. It will make your voice a lot deeper and much gruffer. So I believe the Liver King is around my age. You know what? Let me just do a quick Google.
This will be my final report from here. The tower renovations are nearly complete. And the program reactivated under the supervision of Dr. Mahler. And what do you hope to achieve? Results.
So the Liver King is 45 years old. He was born in 1977. So he is younger. He is younger. So he is actually a few years older than I am. So the guy's been taking about 15, anywhere from $12 to $15,000 or pounds worth of steroids and HGH, human growth hormone. So all this time he's been claiming that he was au naturel, as God created him. So I guess God created him to be a bullshitter. See, I didn't have to tell you guys my background of my cycle. I did one cycle and haven't gone back to it. Every once in a while, I'll do testosterone, but that's pretty much it. Also, guys, a very, very good tip. If you're afraid of needles, don't consider steroids. If you're afraid of needles, don't ever fucking consider doing steroids. Because if you decide to do steroids, but what are you going to do? You're going to do Anavar and Winstrol and all of these D-balls and anything that's in pill form. These things will destroy your liver.
They didn't know what was going on.
Especially if you're taking on the side clenbuterol to help lean you out and shit like that. Yeah, your insides are going to look like these charts over there. These things are fucking toxic like you would not believe. So if you're injecting the steroids, again, I'm not condoning, I'm not saying do it, but if you're going to do it, your best bet is to do it through intramuscular injection. Yeah, it is a hell of a lot scarier to do it that way. It does have its own extreme dangers, like if you accidentally inject in the wrong spot, like your sciatic nerve and things like this. When the hell did I become a doctor? Do not take the pills. I've never taken a pill. In fact, I despise drugs in pill form to begin with. Actually, I despise drugs in any form to begin with. So yeah, so Liver King has been on growth hormone for a long time. So one of the keys to telling if somebody is on HGH is the gut. So they have what's called the pregnancy gut, palumboism. So we call it palumboism because Palumbo was one of the first bodybuilders to use HGH in high levels of steroids.
You made it.
So much so that
I'm
it
going to open up the
bloated
maintenance
his
elevator.
guts.
That'll get you up here.
So
Yeah?
the reason why that happens, and you don't need a lot of it to get the side effect. So steroids target your muscles. I don't know if you guys know what SARMs are. SARMs target specific muscles. So there's SARMs that target. I learned all this stuff about the SARMs from Dylan Gemelli, a great YouTube creator, and he's also been very honest with what he's done. I don't know if he still makes videos, but he's the guy that taught me about the SARMs. I've never taken them, but SARMs target specific muscle parts. So HGH, human growth hormone, targets everything. And that also includes your organs and your intestines. So when you're taking HGH, your body itself becomes bigger. So your bones become a lot denser. Your muscles become a lot denser. And like we said, your intestines and your gut also
Get inside.
grow
I can drive
because
it from here.
it's part of the process.
Gonna lower you
So
down,
as
nice
you're
and
taking
easy.
your growth hormone, your intestines and whatever start getting bigger and stuff like that, so they push out.
I'm trying. One of the
And
motors
that is
shorted
why
out when I
you have that
transferred power.
bloated look on these pregnant bodybuilders. To me, they
The
all look
system's not responding.
stupid as
You've got to do it
fuck.
manually.
And I'm glad I
Just
decided
jam
to
something
stop
into the
doing
brake.
bodybuilding, because I know eventually I would have gone down that road as well. So I stopped doing bodybuilding and I just do training for whatever I want to look like. I don't need to train to be a specific body type to get on stage and get an
Jacob, you
award and
still
things
with me?
like this. You know, if it happens, cool,
I
whatever,
need to figure
but
out
it's not
why
my
this
goal
system's
anymore.
acting
I'm
up.
just doing it
Reset the
for
power down
my
there
own
and get to the other
pursuits, my
elevator.
own interests.
You're nearly here.
Another elevator. Can't wait.
So as your guts and intestines become bigger, it pushes out your abs, and that is also why you have these bodybuilders with gaps between the abs. So he did a apology video that I completely disrespect him for.
Can't wait.
I would have had more respect for him as a man if he had come out earlier and said, you know what guys, I've been misleading you guys.
What the hell?
I have been taking steroids, I have been on a human growth hormone. But I wanted to be honest. It's been on my conscience, and I wanted to be honest because I want to talk about men's mental health now. I would have respected him if he did that. If he was dishonest for a time and then came out with the truth on his own terms, because his conscience got to him. But the simple fact that he made a mistake by trusting the wrong person, or is it the right person, that completely exposed him. Because nothing you would have ever done naturally would have given you anything near the results of what the Liver King looked like. And to me, he still looks fucking goofy, especially for the amount of stuff that he was on. Look, Rich Piana, I loved Rich Piana. He was always upfront and honest about what he was doing, and he spoke a lot about steroids and HGH and what it did to him and how much he would spend. And Rich Piana is a freaking monster. If he said he did $15,000, and I believe that's what Piana's cycle was as well, he was a fucking monster. Huge arms, huge chest, huge back, legs, calves, everything. The dude was proportional and he was fucking amazing as hell. And then when you compare them side by side, Rich Piana to the Liver King, where has he wasted his money? Liver King wasted his money. He looks significantly smaller and completely less impressive when you compare him to Rich Piana. So I think he should have reached out to Rich Piana to see what Rich was on and how he did it. And if you look at Rich Piana's gut, he did not have the bloat that all the other pregnant bodybuilders have. So I lost complete respect for, again, rest in peace, Rich Piana. You are missed. You are still a legend. So he was exposed because he gave somebody his grocery list of steroids, and then he decided to make the his apology video, and from the start, he's still fucking promoting his brand. He's there sitting on his Liver King throne, topless, so we could see his physique. Bro, put a pair of pants, put a t-shirt on or a button-down shirt, and look fucking humble. Cover up, because we're still looking at your body, still impressed with your results. Not me, but the guys following you are still impressed with your results, and you're still displaying your results of years and years, decades of dishonesty. And then what does he go and say? Brothers, I fucked up, guys. I fucked up, brothers. But now that I've been exposed as a complete fraud and a liar, I'm going to start talking about men's mental health. Because that's what I've always wanted to talk about. But now that I've been outed, I can finally start talking about that. No, fuck you, bro. I don't want to hear anything you have to say about men's mental health. You are trying to use that now as your way out from all of this controversy. You are a fraud. You lied to people and misled people for decades. There's no consequences to you. Like, you still have growth on your channel and your brand.
I'm in the elevator. I see the shoe.
But I'm not going to follow this dude anymore,
Elias, you there?
because he's only doing this now because he's been outed. So, guys, if you are fake natties and you still haven't been exposed,
Elias, can you hear me?
oh, everybody gets exposed. We're all human. We will do something to slip up that will eventually expose us for frauds, for whatever we're frauding.
Can we still get to the shoe?
Yeah, but it's on emergency power, so I'll need to stay
So-
here and run a manual override.
Get ahead of the curb.
I can get you over there.
People will actually respect you a lot more if you are proactive than if you are exposed. Because once you get exposed, you lose all credibility.
It's full of those things.
Alright, so that's pretty much all I wanted to say on that. I can't believe I've been talking about the Liver King for a half an hour so far. But I hope you guys were at least enjoying what I've been saying and you got something
Right.
out of it.
And you need to find a way to turn the power back on in there.
So again,
Yeah, I'm looking.
don't do steroids, especially if you're under 35 years old. You have no business doing steroids. If you are going to do them, be aware of the major downsides. For women, there's actually a lot more side effects and negativity than there are for men, because for men, you can recover from most of the things once you reduce it or stop it. But women, yeah, because your body does not naturally create testosterone to the levels of even adolescent men, you are fucked. There's no way around it. You are fucked for the rest of your life. So, don't. If you're a woman, don't do steroids, unless you're a bodybuilder and making that decision. If you want to have kids, make sure you do it before. That also goes for guys, actually. If you want to have kids, do it before your cycle. So, if you're gonna do a cycle, don't ever go for the pills. They're gonna destroy your liver. And Liver King, if liver is king, why bombard it with toxic waste? Because yes, even if you're injecting, it does get processed through your liver, but not the way that it would if it was being processed, if the pills were being processed by your liver. Speaking of testosterone, James Cameron. What a fucking idiot. What a massive, massive fucking idiot. Testosterone is a toxin that men must seek to remove from their body, from their system. Bro, you couldn't wait till after your movie was released to come out with your pure retardation? He actually walked back his decisions on movies like Terminator because he was influenced by his testosterone to make testosterone-driven movies. Man, shut the fuck up. Testosterone is fucking amazing. It is a miracle cure when people have AIDS or cancer or anything that destroys your body because it degenerates your body on a muscular level. It cures you, it fucking saves your life, but these are things that it's forbidden to talk about. And when you really think about it, women are also going through transitioning to become men, right? So for James Cameron to say that testosterone is a toxin, it's a pretty transphobic statement, isn't it? So why aren't you guys talking about that, huh? You activists? Alright, so I'm gonna wrap up the testosterone chat. So we are nearing the finale of part 2 of Callisto Protocol gameplay. So this is the hardest part of the game so far. So you want to make sure that you have enough ammo, and you want to make sure you conserve your ammo. I would recommend leveling up your force pull to level 2, so you propel the enemies that you launch further, because your greatest strategy is melee, and then when you get the reticle you shoot them. And also force pulling and pushing them into the blenders that you see all around the field. So this gameplay over here was my second attempt at this level. My first attempt, I ran out of ammo. I got cornered, and I could not fight my way out of it. So far, I'm going to stick to my original verdict of the game. See, look at this. I'm shooting at the dude. But nothing was registering. At least 2 times I was on the guy. So this is one of the few variations of enemies. Security guard, you have your prisoner, you have your wardens, you have your fat prisoner zombies, and then you have these guys with the kind of double head. There is a variation of this guy, and he's the mid-boss of the game. So apparently, I haven't gotten to him yet, but I think on the chapter that I'm on now, I'll get to that mid boss, but there's only a mid boss and a final boss. So I'll wrap it up. Thank you guys for giving me a few minutes of your time. Like and subscribe. If you want to comment, thank you very much. Jigga Vega out.